At 17 years old, Juliane Koepcke fell from the sky. Not metaphorically, not figuratively. She fell more than 10,000 feet, strapped to her airplane seat, straight into one of the most dangerous environments on Earth, the Amazon rainforest. No rescue team, no phone, no map, no food. And somehow, she lived. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. The fall didn't kill her. The jungle should have. Poisonous snakes, predators, infections, starvation, hallucinations. Statistically, survival past 48 hours would already be miraculous. Juliane survived 19 days. How did a teenage girl with no survival training outlast one of the deadliest environments on the planet? And what happened during those 19 days that she almost never talks about? The answer isn't what most people expect, and it begins before the plane ever crashed. On December 24, 1971, Juliane Koepcke boarded LANSA Flight 508 in Lima, Peru. It was Christmas Eve. The flight was delayed. The weather was already dangerous. Thunderstorms towered above the Amazon basin, the kind pilots avoid at all costs. But delays were expensive, and the airline had a reputation for cutting corners. Juliane was calm. Flying felt normal. Her parents were scientists who worked deep in the rainforest. She had grown up around danger. Plains, rivers, insects, isolation. She sat beside her mother. At cruising altitude, the turbulence began. Light at first, then violent. Passengers screamed, luggage fell. The plane shook as if it were being torn apart mid-air, because it was. A lightning strike hit the aircraft. In seconds, the plane disintegrated. And then, something impossible happened. Juliane was ripped from the aircraft, still strapped to her seat, and ejected into open sky. She remembers spinning, the roar of wind, then darkness. Most people assume she blacked out instantly. She didn't. Juliane fell for minutes, not seconds, minutes. The rainforest canopy, dense, layered, elastic, may have slowed her descent just enough. Branches tore at her clothes, leaves shredded her skin. The seat absorbed part of the impact. When she hit the ground, everything went silent. No engines, no screams, just jungle. Juliane woke up alone. Her collarbone was broken. Her arm was deeply cut. One eye was swollen shut. Her leg was injured. She was still wearing a mini dress and sandals. Around her were pieces of wreckage, scattered bodies, and then nothing. No movement, no voices, no sign anyone else survived. She called out for her mother. No answer. At this moment, most people would panic. Juliane didn't, and that decision not to panic may have saved her life. Juliane made a choice that went against pure instinct. She stayed where she was. Why? Because her parents had taught her something critical about the rainforest. Movement without purpose kills you faster than staying still. Predators hear movement. Injuries worsen. Energy drains. Instead of wandering blindly, Juliane waited. When no rescue came, she remembered something else her father had taught her. Follow water downstream. Rivers lead somewhere. People live near rivers. Plains search rivers. So she stood up, barely, and began walking. What she didn't know was that the jungle was already trying to kill her. Within days, her wounds became infected. Maggots began eating the flesh inside her arm. This sounds horrifying, and it was, but it may have saved her life. Maggots consumed dead tissue, preventing deadly infections from spreading. Juliane didn't know this. She just knew the pain was unbearable. She had no food except a small bag of candy she found in the wreckage. She rationed it carefully. But hunger wasn't the worst part. The silence was. No birds, no insects at night, just the sound of the forest breathing. At night, she slept on the ground. Every rustle sounded like death. She saw snakes. She avoided spiders the size of her hand. She walked past jaguar tracks, fresh ones, and still she kept moving downstream, day after day. By day 10, Juliane was hallucinating. She spoke to her parents, not knowing they were dead. She imagined voices calling her name. She laughed. She cried. This is the stage where most survival stories end. Not because of injury, but because of the mind. Humans, alone, in extreme isolation, lose their grip on reality faster than they lose strength. Juliane nearly gave up. Then she saw something impossible. A canoe. Abandoned. But real. It meant people existed nearby. That single object restored her will to live. She followed the river harder than ever. On the 19th day, Juliane reached a hut. She collapsed. Local loggers found her, skeletal, infected, barely conscious. At first, they thought she was a ghost. She was airlifted to a hospital. Doctors were stunned. She was the only known survivor of the crash. All others, including her mother, had died instantly. Juliane survived because of luck, but also because of knowledge, calm thinking, and refusing to panic when panic would have been easier. Juliane didn't become a celebrity. She didn't chase fame. She went back to the jungle, this time as a scientist. She studied biology. She returned to the crash site years later. She documented what happened. Survival didn't make her fearless, it made her humble. To this day, Juliane says something chilling. The jungle didn't try to kill me, it simply didn't care whether I lived or died. And that may be the most terrifying truth of all. Juliane Koepcke's story isn't about strength, it's about awareness. Nature doesn't reward bravery, it rewards respect. She didn't conquer the jungle, she listened to it. And sometimes, that's the only way to survive.